So this is what I think about education. We have 3 levels of education. We have a foundational program, we have a mid-level program, we have a university program. We have never solved the foundational problem. The foundational problem is the dirty little secret that a lot of the students who graduate from JSS and are going to senior high schools come from private schools. In other words, the public schools are just warehousing our children and not educating them. And we're saying nothing. Everybody who can afford it is taking their kids to private schools, and so these kids from private schools are going to our SHS schools. That is not foreseeably a good policy, and it means that we are failing the poor. It comes from the Ghanaian tendency to privatize public problems. If the schools are bad, take your kids to private schools. If the roads are bad, buy a better car. If water supply is bad, get a borehole. If there's no electricity, get a generator. So the middle class that will put pressure on policymakers has absconded from the public square. So that is why this is getting no attention. The middle level class is the SHS problem. I think that the SHS problem, free SHS is a good idea, but it was very badly implemented. Everybody who lives in North America, you now live in North America, 96% of the kids stay at home and go to school. And if you did that, it means that all this worrying about accommodation and dormitories and infrastructure will significantly be reduced. I think our SHS schools should be predominantly day schools. And if you think about it, for cities like Accra and Kumasi and Takoradi, you can actually have a fleet of buses with kids living at home, and the buses passing around their neighborhoods to pick them up in the morning, bring them home in the evening, and you can run a very robust day system that will not compromise quality and cut costs significantly. I don't know why we haven't done that. So that's the problem with the SHS. Our university system has this problem. Africa, in the last about 10 years, graduates 10 million university graduates a year, and 1 year later, 50% of them are unemployed. How is it that we have a continent that graduates all these students trained with scarce national resources and they can't get jobs? It is because our curriculums are unrelated to the needs of our countries. We need engineers, we need doctors, we need architects, we need building construction engineers, we need to build trade schools instead of letting people go and do domdology and history and archaeology, which don't benefit the country. And if we are not doing that, we are failing our kids. In 2012 or something, Africa spent $50 billion in importing food from the West, and we have 46% of the world's arable land. How do we import food when we have the youngest population, and these young boys and girls are walking across the Sahara and swimming across the Mediterranean and dying in search of greener pastures when we're spending $50 billion a year importing food? That beats my imagination.
So you've talked about the way forward, but what really immediately can we do as a country to... I know we can't solve all of the school's problems. Now, I just spoke to the headmistress. We have issues with accommodation, and it's not only with Agri, but a lot of other schools have the same problems. What can really be done? Let's tackle it one at maybe the senior high schools, because that's where most of the issues begin with.
Make them day schools.
Just make them day schools.
That will solve most of the financial problems and accommodation problems. That will ease the burden on the budget. So that's the first thing to do. Then the second thing to do is to align the teaching to our needs as a country. As the bishop said earlier today, 70% of Ghanaians are Christians and 70% of us are corrupt. Maybe there needs to be some moral education. So, but the fundamental reason is go to these schools.
Thank you very much, sir.